And here we go, like I said, for game 1 of the best of 5 series of KT versus Vertex. And KT on the north side of the map. It looks like we had a little bit of a tussle in the middle of the map here. I'm actually going to do the quick rewind. Okay, we're going super speed, so both the players kind of came across these elephants at the same time. Vertex, I'm surprised he went for the right elephant there. I feel like he could have. Vertex probably could have grabbed both of them. Is KT going to get the crocodile as well? That'd be interesting. Is he going to bring the crocodile all the way back? Crocodile drops aggro. And okay, Vertex does find another elephant from the centre. I'm just doing double speed just to catch back up to live real quick. So 3 of the 4 central elephants claimed. Vertex quite low HP on that villager there, but I think he should be pretty safe, and it is so. But yeah, on the south side, Vertex on the all-powerful Shang. He's going to find another of his elephant there. And so yeah, this is like one of those situations for KT where it's like, should he have really picked the Shang just to go for the Civ mirror, or should he maybe have dropped and pick something like the Chosen, like I said? Because Karth is a very powerful Civ on a lot of maps, but you've got, I think you'd still give the Civ advantage to Shang for most of the early game. I think the Carthaginians can match up very well into the Shang if both players get to the Bronze Age around the same time, just because the camels for the Carthaginians can work quite well up against the Shang. Though the Shang, obviously, with a very open tech tree and just that very strong eco bonus, means they can kind of play anything they like in the Bronze Age. It's just that the Carthaginians have those more powerful military bonuses in that age. So, I mean, we may not reach that phase of the game. Obviously, Highland does often get decided in the Tool Age. It'll be interesting to see how aggressive the players do play. Do see a villager already coming forward from Vertex. Will he just grab the elephant? I don't think he will get distracted by that. Maybe he might send another villager to grab that at some point. Might be worth doing. But yeah, forward villager coming up. And Vertex with 7 villagers in queue, so he's going to need to cancel a whole bunch of those. In fact, KT's done a similar thing, and he does cancel that out there. So I imagine Vertex, how much that's 300 foods worth of vills. Is he going to end up, well, he'll hit the pop cap, and that will give him a heads up that he needs to cancel the vills, so you should hopefully see that disappear in a second. Oh, he's built another house. Okay. So, okay, maybe this, interesting. Maybe Vertex, okay, no, he just started to add in a 21st villager. I guess, yeah, I don't know. Not really sure how to explain that one. So Vertex just goes up a villager a lot slower. Both players about the same sort of idle TC time. But KT going to bring up to that Tool Age just a little bit quicker, just because he went 20 vills instead of 21. In fact, it's 22 vills that Vertex went up on the end. So 2 villager delay. And Vertex kind of... Okay, you saw the base with the artifact. It looks like, yeah, he's going to build the barracks behind his opponent, which is always quite tricky to deal with. If you haven't seen that, then you're not 100% sure where the attacks are going to be coming from. I've not really talked about the bases much, but KT doesn't have... Well, you can sort of wall on this side. It's very open on this side. So maybe not that wall, but yeah, quite open face on Vertex's base. But yeah, barracks was built at home. A couple of clubbers did come out, but yeah, they're not in the position they need to be to defend, but they're not obviously a million miles away from where they need to be. Small wall coming in, and KT is going to wall up the front of his base with double archery range. Their go-to choice. Clubbers are going to sneak in around the back now, though. And when does KT see this? Villager coming forward, it's going to be an archery range down as soon as Vertex hits the Tool Age. Clubman starts going to work, infantry armour coming in. Needlework straight away for KT. Villagers pulled forward to take down the clubber. Village pulled away from KT as well. Quite nicely done. A couple of clubs go forward for KT in the meantime. Villager is forced idle in the TC. Now the armor upgrade about to be in. Like I said, needlework already there. So 2 clubbers shouldn't be able to get too much done here. So Vertex probably just wanna, yeah, maybe like not really engage with the clubs. Okay, so that was a mistake. I was gonna say just sort of like weave in and out with the clubs and just be annoying before the axe upgrade comes in. Bowman assisting now. KT has a bowman of his own. Clubbers forward aren't really going to be able to get much done, as Vertex has pretty much completely closed himself off. He does decide to try and wall off that huge front of his base here. Axeman in now though for Vertex, as well as tool working, so all those axe upgrades in. KT already getting some slingers on the field to help deal with the bowman. So yeah, KT not too bad of a position, though. It looks like Vertex has done a much better job of keeping that villager production going. Obviously, with the Shang, just having those cheaper villagers, it's just so much easier to keep that TC working. And you can already see. In fact, it looks like, yeah, Vertex has had his TC working pretty much the whole time, other than that small bit of time before Tool Age was clicked. But yeah. Vertex may be throwing away a few units here, but I think at this point these units are more running distraction and just, rather than trying to be like a game-ending play, he's just trying to pick off a few villagers wherever he can. KT did actually get a villager killed. I guess that was probably the forward villager. That might be that villager, I don't know. But I think, yeah, the forward villager getting taken out. So yeah, KT is going to hold, but Vertex up around sort of 4.5-ish villagers at this point. And like I said, Vertex set up quite nicely at home. He still has an elephant back here actually, which he hasn't quite spotted. And he found another patch of berries there, which is going to work quite nicely for him, as he'll be able to start adding in farms now as well. And Bronze Age in. So Vertex, no real pressure on his own base, got those small walls down nice and quick. KT's attack never really, well, yeah, because he never got the Axer upgrade in, so this club is not really actual threat to Vertex. And a little forward by Vertex, like I said, didn't get too much damage done, but it sort of caused enough chaos in KT's base just to throw him a little bit. And KT, you can still see, still sort of committing to making more military, as Vertex nearly halfway up to the Bronze Age now. Just noticed the absolute flood of messages in the chat from Unrestrictors, as per usual. But yeah, looks like KT just kind of concentrating clearing up the forward, just so that no shenanigans are afoot. A couple of stone miners may get caught out here. The storage pit does get spotted by KT, so these villagers are going to be forced to run. And again, those villagers are ever so slightly faster than the military units now, which makes them kind of a pain to catch up to in the Tool Age. And Bronze Age now in. And KT still a long ways off. Just getting the farm eco down. The wheel is coming in. Gold has been starting to collect. Stable coming down. So I imagine it will just be a handful of cavalry. Like I said, Carthaginians do get those very nice camels, but you do have to be in the Bronze Age to be able to build those. So that's going to make it a little bit difficult to deal with those units for the time being. KT is trying to get himself fully walled up at base. This may be a case of, interesting, oh, it's not spotted the wood line there, so he's going to go all the way to the edge of the map. So a little bit of waste of build time, I guess you could argue, but not the end of the world. But yeah, a couple of villagers that were the stone miners slowly working their way back. And these bowmen here not really making much headway on the wall. And villager from KT just boating down the barracks, interesting. And yeah, now KT is starting to get himself the food he needs to collect Bronze Age. But yeah, cavalry and chariot archers already out. But that said, it's gonna be, yeah, there are a couple of buildings in the wall. That granary is gonna be a little bit of a weak spot in the wall there. So maybe Vertex, once he spots that, he'll try and possibly work his way through there. KT needs to be a little bit careful that he doesn't accidentally just open the gap by gathering the berries. So yeah, it's probably best to just leave this area now, I would have said. Although villager might go down here. KT a little bit sloppy, built a fast wall and just kind of left the villagers there to their fate. And looks like KT actually has finally broken his way through the wall with the help of the clubbers, and I guess another villager came to build walls here. I guess the slingers more importantly. Somehow my eyes didn't notice that. KT maybe not paying attention here. So Vertex going to get away with the sneaky quick walls. As I guess KT, yeah, focusing on his own base. Trying to get the stables up himself. Bronze Age 3/4 of the way in now. And like I said, KT nearly managed to cause a bit of trouble for Vertex there. But ultimately, Vertex able to sneak in those walls, like I said. This villager here a little bit trapped outside, might have to delete one of the wall sections. Okay, actually it's just open here, so KT needs to be a little bit careful that he doesn't leave a gap there. Okay, he does plug that up now. And this wall here is very low HP, so again a little bit. Okay, fine. Yeah, KT finally get himself sorted out. Government centre going up, gets that free nobility in for the Carthaginians. And you can see the camel response for KT now. And plenty of stables going up. Not a huge amount of army for Vertex just yet, but this guy's going to be pulled off the gold. KT does see the gold over this side, but obviously gold being forward here is going to be a little bit of a problem. Obviously the Carthaginians literally on 0 gold at the moment. Well, 5 now technically, I guess. But yeah, KT maybe going to have to put down a tower to get back control of this, or at least try and re-wall this section here. And looks like, yeah, the tall army just going to get mopped up here. KT can maybe get a couple of kills. That would be probably the best he can hope for. And in fact, he's not going to get any. Just one cavalry unit on low HP. Academies coming down for Vertex now. Interesting call. It's very easy to respond to those hoplites for KT with just hoplites of his own. So Camel's going to get the engage, just the +2/+2 at the moment. I think Vertex does just have enough numbers here. But KT managing to get some damage down, done, as Wheel finally clicked in as well. Yeah, how many minutes we got? 9 and 6. Vertex making camels of his own, but again the Carth just have the more healthy camels. So if KT can just get some more gold in, keep that gold defended, he can just keep spamming camels for the time being. Though again, once the academies come in, he may need to build academies of his own in there. Chariot archers plinking away at the back. Let's have a look. 72 to 47 villagers as well. You can see the number of TCs back here for Vertex. 6 already. We'll go to the fight. I think Vertex has the numbers, but some good damage done by KT, but Vertex just has more army. But down to 9 and 4. Villager going to get caught out there. I'm not really sure what Villager was hoping to do. I guess maybe re-wall this section. Just going a house. And all these camels very low HP now, so Vertex is going to be able to clean up. But yeah, KT now swapping onto hoplites of his own, which will be able to deal with all the melee units fairly easily. Chariot Archer mass isn't too great for the time being, so it doesn't need to worry about that too much, but we'll need to have an answer for that eventually. KT might not have time though, as the stable being chewed through. There's only the 3 hoplites on the field for the time being, and yeah, he's going to be forced off the gold again. KT probably going to have to move some villagers over to the second gold over there. Stable goes down. Camels are in. Hoplites try and go for the engage. Yeah, this camel is going to be able to just run amok in the base. And like I said, those Carthaginian hoplites very strong, so he should be able to do alright in the fight here, but he's going to lose a lot of villagers behind this. And I think KT maybe could try and bone down the camels here, but maybe focusing on the fight. Okay, yeah, Chariot Archer mass is enough to support the push though. And now KT in all sorts of troubles, down to 1 military unit, just that camel, and the GG is called. Like I said, unfortunate for KT that his gold was on the front there, and maybe should have done a little bit more to try and secure that section, chokehold the base there. Because I think he just had, just had the granary, didn't he? And but we'll see what happens here. Obviously the Chosen +1 range on the towers can make them very annoying to deal with. I feel like the Romans just having the cheaper towers is still a better bonus, at least in the early games. Obviously the Romans don't get to upgrade their towers in the Iron Age in the long term, so the Chosen bonus is much stronger there when they can get all the way up to Ballista Tower. But here we go. Greeks is the pick for Vertex, so it wasn't the Hittites. So we are going to see this civilization being played. And like I said, yesterday we had, I think it was Minietti had the unfortunate situation where he had the double berries forward, which really works against you once the Bronze Age comes in and you're forced to go onto the farms. It does have 1 berry to the back, does KT, but 1 of his berries is forward, whereas Vertex, both of his berry patches at the back, which is obviously the preferred place for them to be, just because it means you can usually collect those pretty free. It does see that this is slightly awkward on the side there, but the wall does actually spot that there, which is quite nice for Vertex. I think that's okay. 1 tile, so KT does see his patch there. In fact, he sees his patch at the front as well. So that's sometimes the berries are just in the fog of war, but KT has at least got the advantage that he does know where both his berry patches are on the outside of his base. BO3 or BO5? Aye, Vertex. Come on, man. Come on, man. But yeah, I do suspect that KT should go. Should be going for some sort of forward play as the Chosen. The Chosen do actually have advantage against the Greeks in the Bronze Age of that they do have the cheaper priests. Like I said in another series of the Chosen, that's like one of the Chosen bonuses that I feel like doesn't really get utilised that often, is the cheaper priest bonus. But obviously priests work quite nicely into the hoplites that the Greeks are likely to bring out onto the field. So we'll see if the game comes to that, or whether it is, like I said, just KT all in on the tool age and Vertex just trying to get himself up to the bronze. The Greeks do get the advantage. Their fast bronze is pretty good because they get the cheaper market, so they can put maybe take a villager off wood that you'd otherwise need to get those double buildings down in the tool age. And also a faster working TEC means you actually age up ever so slightly as well, faster as well. So you can get pretty good bronze times as the Greeks if you have a good early game setup. Bit of idle TEC time sneaking in though. So actually Vertex going for 20 vills. And you can see KT21 Vils has actually clicked first. So a little bit clumsy by Vertex there. One villager down, and an extra 8 seconds on top of that, off of KT. So a bit unusual to see KT going for 21 Vils with the forward play, but yeah, he's just going to build barracks on his own base, and Vertex is going to do the classic face plant his forward Vil into his opponent. And oh yeah, is it chosen they have the bonus of longer line of sight walls? I'm just trying to check. I feel like they do, but yeah, this is completely in vision from Vertex. So this barracks, is it going to get denied? I don't think it is. 11 comes out from KT. Quick house. So the barracks is going to go up, but Clubber's already on the field. And Vertex, interestingly, well, I guess we're just going to be all in on Tool for both players at this point, unless KT manages to switch things up real quick. Watchtower is coming in though, and 2 Clubbers out on the field. Club on club action potentially. As on it, KT sails on by. And yeah, I feel like I said, I feel like Vertex does that way too often. I feel like that's one of his biggest weaknesses in the early game, is when he goes for forward, he 9 times out of 10 his villager just runs into the opponent's base, and then the opponent's just like, well, I can see you. So, I mean, just let the clubber in. I mean, I was going to say, if that villager goes down, that's very sloppy from KT, but he does keep it alive. And so, stable coming down for Vertex now. It looks actually, look, Vertex, yeah, he's not actually committed anymore to the tool. So, yeah, it's just maybe the fake aggression. So maybe that was intentional there. Maybe that his opponent seeing the barracks was an intentional ploy. We do see the watchtower coming down. Yeah, because Vertex did research small wall almost straight away, and you can see that he has walled up a second level. And yeah, Bronze Age is going to be clicked now by Vertex. So a little bit of a janky Tool Age. Ooh, game paused. Interesting. KT's just asked for a pause real quick. Okay, we're back in, no worries. So yeah, the tower is going to go up, but Vertex is going to have all the time in the world to re-wall behind it. Just the pause lag there. Tower, I presume that's going to say allowed. But yeah, so this is the problem if you don't add slingers to a rush, is you can't take out the villager behind. This villager should be able to just outrun the tower shot, and does so. Another watchtower going down. I feel like this watchtower isn't in the best of places. KT not really done the exploration he needs to have done here. But yeah, Vertex pretty close to the Bronze Age now. Has quite a lot of gold in the bank, actually probably arguably almost too much gold. Unless he's going to go cavalry straight out the gate, which I guess that would make sense. I was more thinking for hoplites, they don't cost. Actually, I can't even remember how much do hoplites cost. Is it like 30 gold or 35 gold? I'm trying to remember exactly. But yeah, a couple of cavalry to begin with. Obviously, you have to still build the academies once you hit the Bronze Age. You can't build that unit straight away. So yeah, it does actually make sense to have a little bit more gold banked up. KT, pretty long ways off reaching the Bronze Age. This push is going to continue for the time being, and he will eventually break the gate. But like I said, Vertex already walled up behind this, and probably going to have all the time he needs to... Okay, actually interesting that swordsman being queued up there. I'm not sure if that was intentional. The singular swordsman. Short sword. Vertex may potentially lose the stable here. bowman shooting across. Do actually manage to pick up, I was going to say maybe 2 vills there, just the 1. Wheel just coming in to save the day. KT still trying to work his way up to the Bronze Age out. A couple of cavalry come out. I think we do have enough axes to fend this off. Villagers jump into the tower. In fact, the cavalry just run off. And, okay, he was utilising that forward barracks. I guess that makes some sense. Fairly cheap to just make a swordsman, but a swordsman now is just going to go down to the towers. So maybe not the best use of resources in the end. Yeah, axes, like I said, should be able to deal with the cavalry here. But Vertex, kind of like I said, just trying to hold the position for the time being. It does feel the need to rebuild the stable, interestingly, and has built an archery range as well now. Interesting choice. The Greek archery range, I believe, is the worst in the game. So I guess maybe just to get access to the siege workshop, but he is making a bowman. Potentially just to deal with the axes for the time being. I think it would have been better to just keep making swordsmen though if you wanted to deal with the axes. Just because the longevity of those bows isn't great. So actually KT somehow has worked his way in here. Vertex looks like he's kind of being a bit greedy, just trying to set himself up with extra TCs. And again, he has enough axes to fend off the drip-fed cavalry that are coming in more or less one at a time. And he's on the way to Bronze Age. He's had a villager lead for quite some time now. 4 villagers forced idle in the TC. And another bowman being made by Vertex. And, yeah, no armor on the cavalry as well. Makes those axes even better. Sentry tower upgrade coming in. Means this tower's going to be even more annoying. Yeah, that gold's been denied. There's another gold at the back here, obviously. And there's gold outside, so it's not like Vertex doesn't have access to gold. But yeah, just 0 military on the field. And he's trying to re-wall, and he does get that up. Another tower going up for KT. Again, the cavalry getting slapped by those axes. And this has been a very strange game. Vertex still just committing to the eco side of things. He doesn't really have the food, I guess, to make any military at the time being. And with the wheel in, it is going to be difficult for KT to like actually pin down the villagers. Wheel just coming in for KT himself, as I say that. And KT taking quite a few hits there, so I think the axes are finally going to go down now. They do manage to pick off one more cavalry unit, and in fact we might actually lose this one with the assistance of the tower. Needlework villagers are going to bonk down the axe now though. So the push has now been stopped, but all said and done, KT up 9 villagers. Priests coming out on the field as well now. Like I said, those cheaper chosen priests going to be pretty annoying for the Greeks to deal with. Obviously, we have buffed the scout line to be much better at dealing with priests. So potentially that could be an option for Vertex. His current stable is slowly getting whittled down by towers though. Siege Workshop did actually come up, but no stone throw at the time being. And KT just transitioning into the broadsword. And I think it's just going to be priest and sword push forward, and probably a few additional towers as well. And villagers coming forward to bone down the wall. Still only 2 cavalry units from Vertex. And despite being on 4 TCs now, he's still behind on villager count. KT just on the singular TC, slapping down a bunch of extra barracks, getting in all the priest techs as well. And these towers, like I said, they're chosen with their extra range, just very irritating. And still, okay, stone throw is coming out now for Vertex as he's finally sort of getting some actual resources to play with here. But has KT got himself in the position he needs? And is that conversion to go out? Not quite. But Yeah, all the tech's coming in here. Still doesn't quite get that conversion. Scout being offered as a sacrifice. That conversion does come in. So actually both of those priests are going to be forced to recharge it. Another tower coming down. And Stone Thrower going to start hitting away. But yeah, the chosen towers actually have the same range as Stone Throwers, which makes them a little bit vulnerable. The villager looks like it came to potentially repair, but maybe a slight misclick by Vertex there. And the broadswords blinking away. He is missing the +4 armor, but potentially not an issue. Hoplites now coming in for Vertex, but there's plenty of priests ready with open arms to start waggling those staffs, get the Woolaloo going. And yeah, KT pushing in now. And see how much damage you can get done. Stone Thrower in the back. One conversion on the cav. Can he get the other one in as well? And he does so. So this cavalry could be used to just easily take down that Stone Thrower now. Hoplites coming forward. Again, priests in position to start getting some more conversions in. And yeah, you can see absolutely huge pump on the priest from KT. And Vertex still behind on the villagers after losing 13. And he's going to need some good priest control here. You can see the white buyers there of the Faith. And GG's is called by Vertex. And I thought KT had absolutely no chance in that game when Vertex got himself to the Bronze Age. But as we get ourselves into Game 3. And okay, so actually, this coastal map... no land towards the edge of the map. That sometimes can happen. So we've got water all the way around. And actually... you kind of get sort of like more bottleneck sections, but it is just like one big blob of land. So actually fairly open for both players. Not impossible to wall, but like, yeah, some quite wide open sections for both players here. Maybe a little bit easier to defend for Vertex, just because he's got that gold at the front. But then the gold for Yamato is going to be quite important, so maybe doesn't want to leave that in too exposed of a position. If he can maybe try and get that more defended. That'd work out nicely. Both players just going for granary start. I think maybe it's only continental really when people go, because yeah, I guess there's the situation where you can have your land go away to the edge of the map, so maybe looking for an early storage pit isn't worth doing on this map like some people do on Conti. KT already going out for a little bit of exploration. Not quite the one tile miss, but he does miss the elephant there, unfortunately for him. And meanwhile, unfortunately that gazelle got killed quite a bit out of position there by Vertex. But the rest of the gazelle, fairly decent push for those, although that gazelle has decided to go for, make a break for freedom. Prefer Yamato? Well, yeah, I think Yamato is just a stronger civ than the Romans, generally speaking. Like I said, I feel like the problem with the Romans these days is they're almost too fair of a civ. Like, they have some good bonuses. Thank you, Memo. The Romans do have some good bonuses, but they're not as ridiculous as some of the other civ bonuses in the game. But like in theory, KT should be able to get himself on the water a little bit earlier, which could help him maybe get like a fish boom going up. But then Yamato do have those faster working fishing ships, which should catch up fairly quickly. And then you make some good wood savings for Yamato as well in the Tool Age on those military buildings. It's kind of like, that kind of catches you up almost straight away to the Roman bonus of the cheaper buildings, the 10% cheaper all buildings. And so 20 vills for Vertex, so I think we'll see a little bit more idle TC time And yeah, all those villagers did get cancelled for Katie. So it's going to be 20 pop up for both civs. Both players. Click basically exactly at the same time. 35 seconds idle TC time for both players. Storage pit does go up on the water and the wood line, so he does have access to the shore fish there. And we do see a villager coming forward for both players. Vertex a little bit offline, and potentially Katie's Fordville might get spotted out by the artifact, but unfortunately for Vertex, he's not going to see it. Barracks goes up quite central in the map. Be interesting to see if Katie does make clubbers, or if it's just going to be maybe a scout rush. Barracks, like I said, a little bit wide of KT here, but again, the KT's base very open on this side, so it's going to be quite difficult for him to close off an aggressive attack. Yeah, no clubbers in queue, so I feel like this is going to be... What's this villager doing? Probably a forward stable. I mean, it could be a forward archery range as well, but it's just obviously Yamato do just get those cheaper scouts. And Tool Age coming in narrowly faster for KT. Watchtower being researched. It is archery range that comes down actually. And first clubber coming in from Vertex. And this is the problem with building your barracks forward. It does mean you are exposed to the back. Tower going up on the wood line, so maybe KT taking a note out of Say My Name's playbook there. Archery range going up at home as well. So no bowman actually being made just yet, as KT maybe just forced to pay attention at home. Another tower going up on the base. I'm never a huge fan of these towers just because it blocks farm spots, but I guess he just wants to protect these elephants for the time being. No, oh no, dock is down, sorry. One dock down for Vertex, so he is going to be the first to the water. Archery range down as well. Clubbers do have the armor in, but needlework is in for KT. Does jump into the TC in time. And elephants should be fairly well protected for the time being. I'm a little bit curious why KT isn't just killing the clubber there with the vills. There we go. Slinger as well out. But yeah, Vertex, like I said, first the water, so he is going to be able to boom up his eco quite nicely. And he did manage to wall off the front of the base. It is still open here. But yeah, a lot easier of a wallable base for Vertex there. And I think that was a villager, the forward villager being picked off there. Is that one eco kill. And now, like I said, is it just going to be Fish Boom into Vertex working himself up towards the Bronze Age? He is still producing bowmen just to try and pick away at KT's base. Obviously the tower being a stationary thing, the bowman can try to sort of find weak spots around the tower. Find some loose villagers here and there. Storage pit is going up. There's actually a gazelle there, hidden away behind the trees. I don't know if he wants to actually go for stone, or if that's just the auto vills from building the storage pit. Yeah, Katie's still not on the water, and yeah, still kind of just maybe a little bit panic mode, maybe going a little bit overkill with the towers. At this point, like I said, he just had quite a difficult map to wall up, so relying on that tower defense for the time being. He is trying to set up the farm eco, which is quite bold to do as his opponent is in his base. Vertex feeling forced to put up another layer of walls, and maybe just out of range of the bowman there. But again, these fishing boats are just allowing Vertex to creep ahead on the eco numbers, and yeah, just the bows still just being slowly trickled in just to cause KT a little bit of a headache. Again, if this feels like another play from Vertex where he's not trying to go for a sort of a game-winning push with his attack, he's just sort of trying to delay KT and then just build up the eco behind it. Another duck coming down now. Another barracks coming down. Maybe just for some extra slingers. So maybe Vertex is going to commit to the all-in in the Tall Age after what I said. Does have 9 bows now. Oh, sorry, 8 bows now. I'm getting confused by the 2 players now. Looks like KT has broken through the house. And Vertex going to be forced back for the time being. No woodworking in just yet for either player. So KT still trying to get some damage done. Tower doesn't quite go up in time. Villager's probably going to get caught out by the bows. Looks like KT wasn't properly controlling that unit. And finally, KT does get himself set up on the water. Actually, it's the first to get a scout ship down. So if this does sneak round, potentially the fish eco could be in trouble, but it's completely opposite side of the map. So Vertex definitely going to see that going round if it does try to wrap around. A few more bows being lost for Vertex as KT is still trying to push on his opponent. Tower still not quite going up, but should be finished now. And let's have a look. So yeah, Vertex, yeah, is definitely committing to the Tool Age. Like I said, I was expecting him to just try and lean on the Yamato strong fishing eco, as we see a bit of an engage here. Slinger doing quite a bit of damage. KT just trying to pick off the squishier bowman. That does leave the Slinger alive though. He does have a Slinger of his own. I think we are still missing, okay, woodworking is in, sorry. And woodworking just coming in now for Vertex. And 2 villager kills for Vertex, still 0 for KT, as this attack now looks like it's going to be completely stopped. And all said and done, 46 to 32 on the eco count. Fish boom in full swing. Like I said, the Yamato do get the faster working fishing boats. Scout ships are coming round now though. And like I said, Vertex hasn't made any military ships. So potentially some of these fishing boats going to get sunk. And Vertex not paying attention just yet. Looks like it's maybe looking elsewhere. And now it does pull the fishing boats. Might get that last one picked off there. There we go, 2. It's probably going to be 3 with this one. And yeah, Vertex now feeling forced into scout ships of his own. But KT's still got a lot of ground to make up. And plenty of slingers from Vertex now. No stone mining in just yet. But we'll see how this push goes. The slingers should be able to more or less just run under the towers here. And KT, no real units. I mean, has a few slingers here, but they're way out of position from his base, so a lot of his eco going to be forced to hide in the towers. Yeah, like I said, slingers just with that pierce armor can kind of just run under towers fairly easily. Woodline forced to run. Scout ships being met on the top side now, but we'll focus on the land for the time being. So another barracks was trying to be put down there by KT. So we have ourselves a pretty messy game, but again, Vertex just creeping ahead. Yeah, scout ships now going to be dealt with on the water, and KT not adding any more scout ships of his own. Means that that play is probably going to be stopped in its tracks. And Vertex now pumping 3 barracks worth of slingers, 2 archery range worth of bows. And I don't think KT is going to be able to match this massive unit. You can see it's 27 to 8 at the moment. And just, yeah, that fish eco, it's going to get a little bit less efficient in time, but obviously there's still plenty of fish in the sort of nearish vicinity. And break through the building. Towers doing some work. I think, like I said, there's just enough slingers that Vertex can just kind of do what he wants at this point. Just diving through. Stone mining still not in for Vertex, so a little bit of a mistake, I would say, there. Just because with stone mining in, those slingers are just so much more oppressive. But yeah, Bronze Age is clicked now. The storage pit is going out on a fresh wood line. And like I said, I felt like Katie wasn't in a great position on Inside Out, and he managed to put it out of the bag. But I feel like in this game, Vertex is just kind of too far ahead at this point. And I suspect we'll see some Yamato cavalry coming out fairly soon. Although we don't see... I don't see a stable anywhere just yet. Stable, okay, out the front of the base now. And yeah, the villagers going on to gold. So yeah, probably a couple of stables into just full cavalry pump. Still plenty of tool age units. It's interesting that we keep trying to wall this section here where a lot more of the base is still open. Like I said, there's towers doing some amount of job in the defense, but you can see there this slinger's just like tank absolutely loads. 5 damage up against the 3 pierce armor of the slinger, so they only do 2 damage a shot. Katie just trying to lure his opponent under the towers, but again, just the slinger numbers kind of too high at this point. Villagers forced to garrison again. Bronze Age in for Vertex now, and the cavalry units are coming out. Their second stable is down as well. So yeah, 15% discount for those Yamato cavalry. And still making those tool age units as well. And War Galley upgrade coming in for those 8 scout ships that he has. It looks like Katie did actually make some... Oh, okay, he actually did manage to disrupt the fishing eco a little bit, it seems. So Katie going to get some decent damage here. So that's a nice little pickup, but unfortunately I think on the land, when these waves of cavalry are going to start flooding through, it's probably not going to be much to be done there. I mean, Katie has managed to get himself the wood he needs, the food he needs, I should say, to get himself up to bronze, but I think the cavalry is going to be too much for him to deal with here. Potentially, I was going to say maybe a forward siege workshop just to clear up the towers, but I don't think Vertex really even needs that, to be honest. Yeah, this cavalry does get taken down, but absolutely loads of damage done there. Katie trying to wall in his wood line, but that's only going to do so much against the ranged units. Maybe just trying to stall, yeah, and run the villagers away, I guess, for the time being. Cavalry are going to be able to wrap around, and yeah, with 150 HP, the tower's going to be very ineffective. And I feel like this is probably going to be the GG fairly soon. Villager numbers going down. Like I said, Katie did manage to get onto the fish eco and do some damage there. But Vertex just been too far ahead on the eco numbers for too long now. Another house just going up, just trying to defend the villagers for the time being. Just trying to stall to get to the Bronze Age. And like I said, the tower's still doing some work, but you can see how much of the population has been forced idle. All the towers basically max capacity. Bronze Age does come in for Katie. We're on very limited resources. Sentry Tower will help, but I just don't see a way back in. He is trying to get the broadswordsman. Just doesn't have the food eco to support that though. He only has the 2 fishing boats. And if Vertex, I mean, sees the dock with the artifact. Yeah, just the waves and waves of cavalry coming forward. Interesting that we're going for the infantry armor. Okay, so added in the academies. I guess those are just to deal with the towers. The hoplites, that is. But now we're down to 31 eco. Vertex more than double the count. Still only 1 TC, interestingly, but he's had the obviously got the advantage of the docks effectively acting as quasi TCs in terms of eco production. Getting his eco units out, and towers just being focused down now. Doing the 6 damage now, a little bit more effective, but not massively so. And now the hoplites coming out. It's going to mean that these broadswords are also going to be a little bit homeless. It's probably going to want to get the bronze shield upgrade for these hoplites though, so they don't just get taken out by the towers. Yeah. A little bit pinched resources for the time being, as he's just trying to pump all the units, but I don't think bronze shield's that expensive. So actually, these hoplites actually, there we go, finally clicked the bronze shield. I was going to say these hoplites kind of not really getting much done here, but again, I feel like the damage has been done for Vertex, and it's just a matter of time at this point here. Yeah, 32 eco kills. And GG is called. 2-1 to Vertex. And yeah, pretty one-sided game in the end. KT's forward. Oh, thank you. Good job. You pointed that straight away. So now you can see the map. So you can see how wide open both players' maps are. And yeah, the extra zebra patch and the elephant nearby for Vertex is what I was trying to point out before. Do I not have the bracket in my description below the stream? I might need to check that. I thought I had put that in there, but maybe I haven't. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we see like maybe an 18 or 19 Vil tool age from either player, or if it is just the more standard 20. We do only have one villager in queue for Vertex at the moment. Okay, he does add another one now. But yeah, KT, 8 villagers in queue, and I can guarantee he's not going to be making all of those. So yeah, cancels a whole bunch of those. So it is going to be 20 pop up for KT. Is it going to be the 19 for Vertex though? Looks like it is. Oh no, it does make the... Okay, last second he had to added in the last villager. Storage pit. Yes. That's, yeah, going to delay his uptime. A little bit sloppy by KT. And villagers on the gold. Get those sorted out, brother. That's not what you want to see. That's not what you want to see from KT there, delaying the uptime by a reasonable amount. I think he would, yes, it's going to be 4 seconds slower, and I think he would have been about 10 or so seconds quicker had he not fumbled that. Forward villager already out for Vertex, and it looks like KT nearly losing a village to elephant there. But yeah, KT still not with the barracks down. Pause has come out. Apparently KT's lagging, he's saying. So hopefully it's only a momentary pause, and hopefully this villager doesn't get clapped by this elephant here. But yeah, barracks is going down. KT does have the resources for a barracks, but hasn't started building it yet. And Vertex definitely in position to try and get an aggressive play off it. So in the pause, it's already looking potentially a little bit grim for KT in this game. Obviously it's not game over just yet. And KT just, yeah, again, just complaining a bit of the lag in the chat. Hopefully it sort of stabilizes and we can get ourselves back into the game. Looks like Vertex is about to find this elephant here. He spotted this one here as well. And like I said, if he does manage to find the zebra patch over here and that extra elephant, he's going to be laughing his way to the bank with the Persian bonus. Although I think he'd probably have to storage pit here, so maybe we don't see him go for the zebra since he's already pitted on this side. But you never know. That said, it's definitely better to pit instead of go to the farms, I would say. But it might come down to whether or not KT can get a counter-offensive off, or if we even get the game to go that length. And like I said, hopefully we get back in the game soon. I think, there we go, we're pausing now. It's kind of funny because when I go back to the other game, I could see all these happening as they were happening, but you only see the messages when the unpause happens on CA. Barrack's built right on his own face. Clubber's in the queue. And KT is only going to be 4 seconds behind in the end, but like I said, he could have had a little bit more of an advantage, a little bit of a fumbled Stone Age by KT there. And like I said, Vertex does bring that elephant back in. He's going to go exploring again. Yeah, he grabbed that elephant there as well. Unfortunately, he's not going in the direction of the rest of the hunt here. But now we see the stable forward. Archer range. Oh, this is... oh, dear me. I think this is a big mistake from KT. The bowmen are very easily countered by scouts. I mean, I guess, yeah, it's going to be tough for KT to hold here, I think. I think this archer range is a bit of a mistake. Elephants are starting to run out as we just have the sort of pause lag from capture age there. KT spots the forward, but he hasn't spotted the stable just yet, but I think he is going to see it now. And yeah, armor and tool working in for the scout. And I think this is already going to be trouble city for our boy KT. These bowmen going to just get absolutely clapped by the scout. His needleworking is in actually though, so the villager's going to be able to assist a little bit there. Yeah, the bows. Yeah, Slinger even coming in as well from Vertex. So the initial scout, in fact, both those scouts going down. So a little bit sloppy from Vertex, maybe underestimating the power of the needlework, but 2 villagers have still gone down. And yeah, another berry patch is found for Vertex, so he's still not going to be forced onto the farms anytime soon. Scouts getting shots in here and there. Villagers being forced to fight. Vertex constantly adding vills in. And I think, unfortunately, this is going to be a fairly swift 3-1 in the favour of Vertex. Well, swift game 4, I mean. As the bows, I mean, he has a good number of bows, that said. And like I said, the biggest problem with what Vertex did here was he kind of lost a few scouts for no reason. But again, it's just way too far behind on eco. And all of his eco is still open. Scouts can just move over to the wood line with that mobility. Yeah, a couple more vills going to get caught out here. And no Axer upgrade either for the clubs, so this club's not really going to be doing much against the scouts either. And Vertex has just swapped into the cheaper Slinger unit now, but he does have the 5 scouts. And yeah, they find their berries as well. I think this is, like I said, going to be the game. Needlework will help take out the scout, but all these villagers are going to be forced to run. 1 villager gets taken down. Scouts coming in to pincer. Another vill goes down. 7 vill kills. And unfortunately, like I said, maybe a slightly sloppy Stone Age from KT. And I feel like the archer range wasn't the correct decision here. And I feel like... Ooh, what happened there? Oh, the lion killed. The lion killed a scout there. Like I said, I feel like if Vertex had been a little bit more careful with his scouts, this game probably would be done and done. But he did like send a couple of them in just by themselves, and they got boned down by villagers. But yeah, you can see 10 villager lead. KT is still playing on for the time being. Like I said, he is out of the tournament if he loses this game. So fair enough that he wants to try and just give it everything in this last game. Yeah, Verger's on the berries, getting caught out again though. And it's going to be another Vil kill there. 9-10, and GG is called. So yeah, a little bit of a sad performance from KT just in this last game here. It would have been nice to see if he could try and get something done. Like I said, he was on the shank.